A hobby that has drawn me in since childhood and hasn't let go since then is watching movies. I'm not going to go back to my early childhood, but somewhere around the age of 13, a period began in my life that continues to this day. During my school years, there was not a day when I did not watch a movie, and then, like everything else in this world, my passion began to develop. I began to recognize directors by their style, to notice how they choose actors, what primary sources the film was based on. I began to understand the references, began to understand why this or that actor or director is considered a master. Then there was a period when I watched exclusively European films, which showed a different approach when compared to Hollywood films, and forgetting the score of the film I watched. At some point, I didn't care about watching any trash like The Godfather, Apocalypse Now, and Life is Beautiful, or masterpieces like Tusk, The Human Centipede, or The Green Elephant. Books are also present in my life, but since their number does not exceed 100, their influence is sensibly less. So, when a person fills his head with terabytes of information, his head begins to create unrealistic things. It turns out to be some kind of invisible magic that connects the outside world. Pop culture connects the whole world. I heard from different people that pop is cool music and rap is shit, from others that pop is shit and rap rules. Some people told me that anime is for children. Others argued that TV shows are worse than movies. Some said they were for little girls, and so on. All these people are sitting at a huge table full of different food and drinks. They divide them into tasty and tasteless. Without even tasting something, people consciously limit themselves, although the best of the creative world take everything into their own hands, enjoy and create, and do not put themselves in a box, whether it is children's or adult art, old or new, male or female. Science and creativity are united by pop culture. People still don't realize that you can listen and watch everything only after going through millions of information, good and not so good. We form the taste of why people watch and admire the films The Pianist, and for reasons of conscience, they can watch Grave of the Fireflies. But it also works the other way around. Young guys who don't watch movies and only watch anime are missing out just as much. Contracts with demons for power. You get the idea. Dante's Divine Comedy, Shakespeare's Hamlet. To sell or not to be. All of these works are the skeleton to which different artists put forms and show their vision. This skill, which I've been rolling for 12 years and still rolling, helps me to run the channel. Well, this is about the fact that information is never useless. When you read the books of the great conquerors and warlords, you can see how they refer to the strategies that Caesar came up with. Many rulers were wise and far-sighted and also studied different languages, cultures, sometimes even religion, to better understand the essence of ruling. In the Marco Polo and Vikings series, the directors showed this theme well, and it can be seen throughout. If you watch them, you will see that all the greatest artists respect each other. The Little Prince by Exupery, Alice by Carroll, children's books that millions of figures refer to this day. And it doesn't matter. Only philosophical books say that cartoons for children are a doctor in a bathrobe, and where there is a joke, there can be no seriousness. Listen to Jorvan's podcasts with various figures like Guy Ritchie, Tarantino, Elon Musk. All these people say ordinary things in ordinary language. Their philosophy is clear, and their thoughts are easy to understand. A genius is not necessarily a person who says something that is clever and unreal in simplicity. If you look at their biographies, you will find out that they watched and listened to a lot in order to create. As they say, they collected mana to ultimately create. The fact that one rapper speaks in clever words while the other writes low-file songs does not mean that he is not. It means that the latter is dumber. If a director makes comedies, it doesn't mean that they don't have an idea or philosophy. And vice versa. You need to understand everything a little deeper and not just talk about it. Don't divide art into old and new. Look at the old classics. Also watch something new, rather than watching the same thing 100 times. You have to push yourself into limits. Our world is full of creativity, which is available to us in a few clicks. Try, watch, admire, listen, and memorize. Most importantly, enjoy yourself and Having accumulated a lot of baggage from the world culture, you will realize that all paths lead to you. Peace and split genius. Of course, no movie will be able to film the Attack of the Titans so that everything is harmonious, because you can draw anything, and this is the main advantage of animated formats. But no anime can give the world the acting of real people, no matter how well the character is written and no matter how talented Seo is. It is perceived differently, and even action films based on manga make the same titans look ridiculous. I also noticed that many people cannot watch classics because they were made in the 70s or later. Well, the classics are something that has stood the test of time, and artists, whether they are musicians, directors, mangaka, or writers, all rely on classics that already work. And if you think that the authors of Gravity Falls or Van Pussy are dumber or less educated than the authors of Star Wars or Game of Thrones, well, I want to disappoint you. The type of activity and the format of the author have no bearing on the depth and genius of the ideas in the picture. You know, to think that painted films are for children is the same as to identify girls and boys by the length of their hair, and smart people by the presence of glasses and a book in their hands. Most of the authors who have achieved great success have a lot of global pop culture background. You just need to see the connection. Authors often refer to something that has already been tested by time. For example, the Bible is a best-selling book, one of the most popular books in the world, and one that everyone makes references to. From the 7 deadly sins, which, despite their name, are positive knights, and their enemies are, as you might have guessed, the 10 Commandments. And here's movie 7, where Brad Pitt was given a headache in the box. Romeo and Juliet, we take any love drama, change the concept sensitively, and get Bella as Juliet and Edward as Romeo. And just like in the book, something has to get in the way. And in all love dramas, if there is a boy and a girl and they are prevented from being together by family, clan, distance, status, the disease is a reworked version of Shakespeare. He and his Faust. How many anime and movies are there where a person makes contact with the devil, a demon, dark gods? Speaking of references, yesterday I just watched Pensacola, and the scene where the one-eyed woman talks to the guy with the ponytail reminded me of the cover of the Italian 8 Papa Masters. And of course, their Koopa broke the pro.